Hi everyone, welcome to today's Monday market update. Have we turned the tide? I'll have a look at some dynamics that I'm focused on today. I just filmed the mastermind session, so going to drop you some of the nuggets that I left with them. All right, let's crack straight in. Oh, also guys, we have just released the details and the promos for the CCI Christmas party. It is bigger and better than ever this year. The boat looks unreal. It looks like a floating stadium. I'm not gonna lie, it looks absolutely wild. If you ever seen Tomorrow Never Dies, the James Bond film, it reminds me of Elliot Carver's clandestine stealth boat. It's absolutely wild. Anyway, if you're keen to come along, have a chat with us, we've got SwiftX, Bybit, a lot of the heavy hitters of the industry coming along. I mean, Checkmate's going to join, maybe Jamie Coots from Real Vision. It's going to be wild. It's going to be fun. So yeah, if you see that pop up, let's get into it. All right, guys, let me have a look at Bitcoin first. So really positive reaction here at the trend line. So I want to keep this as basic as possible and as easy to, I guess, have an upside and downside strategy. And I had these three boxes. So if Bitcoin was going to sort of test and challenge us to the downside, the areas where I'd be highly interested in buying or watching for a reaction are here. So 1, 2, 3, almost like a little traffic light system, but without the red. We've got the 200-day moving average in this zone here, and the upwards trend line that Bitcoin has been in a very long time since it's been in this upwards bull market. So this is that first level. It's also the 0.32 fib. It's showing a reaction here. It's bulls are actually stepping on the gas. I wanted to see that. That's fantastic. We're now running into the 10 EMA on the daily. I don't get really interested until we begin to clear at least 112. Just seeing us just do a bit of a flip resistance into support there, that's great. Ultimately though, look, there's a lot of moving averages above, a lot of resistance. If bulls are going to potentially drive us higher, and we maybe see that rotational trade, which I've been hypothesizing for quite a while. Look, it's not nothing new. It's pretty consensus out there that when gold runs, Bitcoin has about a 90-day plus lag, and it catches up for the same fundamental reasons gold is running. Bitcoin having a bit more sensitivity to the stock market at this stage. The stock market's roaring again. So I just think this is moving in one direction, whether it be Q4 or 2026. Shorter term though, the areas where I'm getting very interested are up here, 17,500 above the volume support here. You really need to flip that for us to get super bullish again. But a lot of moving averages here. We just need to turn the tide a little bit here. There are so many short positions that are just stacked up above. It's imbalanced at the moment, so 2 to 1. It was a bit different before we had this big leverage wipeout, whether it be for what was it called, shenanigan reasons or legitimate leverage wipeout reasons. We had all that just completely cleared. And so a lot of the liquidity and liquidation levels are now above us, which is actually a really good spot to be if we're going to reverse, because it creates the energy for us to just rip through. And look, the sentiment on X and elsewhere around Bitcoin compared to gold, and Bitcoin, it's failed, it's done this thing again. Well, you know what? That's when you get really, really interested, particularly into support. Bitcoin's rolling into support. Now, if this level fades, so the three factors I'm watching here for Bitcoin to slip into a prolonged bear phase or maybe an interim little bear market. I don't think Bitcoin's going to bear market with all the tailwinds and the macro that we're seeing, but if the TA tells us something, we have to abide by it. So on the daily, losing the 200-day moving average on a close. Weekly, losing the 10 EMA and the 20. We actually lost it this week. However, we are still above the 50-day moving average, which holds up all Bitcoin bull markets. So that is my trigger. So weekly. So if we lose the 200-day like we lost it twice over the weekend, you have to be a little bit suspect about weekend moves. We reclaimed it today. So the 200 is still stable. That's fine. The two weekly indicators though, 20 and the 10, they were lost. The 50 still holding. So tick. That's still in the positive, but we want to reclaim that 10 EMA and the 20. So a little bit higher. Essentially, we want to get above 115,000. The third and probably most important higher time frame signal is actually over on the monthly. What we don't want to lose is this old blue line here, 10 EMA, just snaking all the way up on a monthly. That's sitting at 102, 101. That's where the 50-week moving average is as well. So super strong support hanging around at the 101, 102 levels. That's where we want to see bulls at their final stand. We do not want to lose that on a close. We can go beneath it, but we want to reclaim that level. It should be super, super, super strong. Next chart I want to show you is quite important. Paolo shares it with a lot of the Quantum Profits guys quite a bit. USDT dominance. So this is showing how much of the overall crypto market cap is concentrated in USDT stablecoins, and how much is then flowing back out into crypto. So very useful chart in its own right. In a macro sense, I'm just looking for shifts. So here I've just got a very clear downtrend, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. So the stablecoins are moving slowly but surely into the larger crypto ecosystem. And we've had another rejection of that overhead trend line. We've also lost the 200-week moving average as well. And if I go down to the daily, this to me looks like a near-term reversal to send us lower in the dominance. So I've got my pathway here in yellow where I want to see USDT go, for crypto to just absolutely rip, and for Bitcoin to rip and go to the next level. So this here is a really positive sign. I'm watching that very, very carefully. Okay, wanted to share the Check On-Chain Bitcoin Hodler dashboard. Super interesting on-chain page to just pull up or bookmark, just have it there and to quickly understand what it is. It's very useful to give you a gauge on how overhead we are, how much capitulation are we seeing in the near term. So the MVRVZ topping cloud, we're actually going negative here. We are down at levels we were previously down at, and we're lower than this entire 8-month consolidation period, but this more recent consolidation period this year, we're down at those same levels. Short-term holder MVRV, what does that mean? Well, when we're below the short-term holder cost basis, which is now at about 112.9, which is the, I guess, the average buy price of short-term holders. If we duck beneath that, it generally causes panic and capitulation of the short-term holder cohort, and they sell onto the market, which we've been seeing a lot of fear. The unrealized levels of that cohort is quite strong at the moment. We've also had realized losses of that same cohort of late, getting down to similar levels we saw at the bottoms on the last couple of corrections, not to some of these extremes, but you think about the liquidation that we've just had, that's pretty wild. Also having funding rates, not quite negative yet, but we are drifting towards negative. So everything here is quite fertile ground for a reversal. So I'm watching this quite keenly. It doesn't mean we're going to get it. It just means that the market is taking a fair amount of pain right now, which is great. And hopefully we're seeing a reset. Now, what I'm sharing with the masterminds is not reinventing the wheel. In fact, it goes back to bread and butter. Guys, just ease up on the leverage. So many people have been absolutely wrecked. And I just wanted to bring everything back to the brass tacks. It's the Bitcoin pair charts, which has made us so much money up until this point and allowed us to remain solvent and not taking on too much risk before we need to. So big part of this and around strategy, which we're sharing with the masterminds constantly and just reiterating is when to go offensive and when to be defensive. And without a doubt, this has been a period to be defensive in the market. And when I say defensive in the market, it's being in Bitcoin and having a Bitcoin only focus until altcoins are giving you a reason to think that they are going to outperform Bitcoin. And if they are not, you just stay in Bitcoin. It's the easiest thing ever. It's harder to action though. You always do have to take an element of risk when you're venturing out into the altcoins to try and beat Bitcoin as well. There's no helping and no way around that. And that's where people can get chopped up and then you get lost in a bit of the leverage and the day trader mindset. So we want to have very clear entry points and guidelines. There are very few charts that look really good against Bitcoin currently. There are still challenges, even on some of the good looking charts, but I just wanted to show you Tau BTC. We've been monitoring for a little while. The USD chart and the Bitcoin chart look very, very similar, both showing key strengths. There's multi-year downtrend. You can see here, lower high, lower high, lower high, fake breakout, high, back down, retest. So this is very constructive to me. So that breakout there, come back down to the 200. I'll zoom in just a wee bit more. Breakout here, hit the 200, retest, climbs higher. We're following that 10 EMA up, heading into resistance, yes, but it does look like to me we are building some kind of platform, potentially for a breakup. But that's a example of a bullish chart when we're trying to change the trend. In fact, the downtrend has been broken. It's now using that underside. So if we were to invert this chart, it's come back underneath, it's using it as resistance and it's beginning to flirt with lower. It can come up again and tag, and it may actually reverse completely short if the market craps itself again or Tau craps itself again. But this here looks like breakdown, chop, 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 about to roll higher. Now I guess the The higher percentage play here is, okay, you may have missed the move, or you are buying down into some of these support levels, fine. You can wait for this upper level to get breached, where you might see that flip through there when this entire, upper band of just crap is completely taken out and you don't have much in the way of resistance above, and then towers off. So that's what I'm looking for in terms of Bitcoin charts to get interested on in terms of the strategy. I won't share that with you today, but there are ways around where you can manage risk while also form a deployment strategy. All right, guys, hope you've enjoyed today's Monday market update. We'll catch you again soon. Take it easy. Bye.